It all. Here we go. Come on in. 3 p.m. We are recording live. You guys can also be watching this on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to the recorded version, the on-demand version, if you will, right, Emily? Okay, everybody comes in. Everybody comes in right at 3 o'clock. This is a Zoom crew. Everybody knows what they're doing. Middleton, big smile on his face. Ready to let it rip. All right, guys, welcome to the Oceanside 70.3 course chat. Talk about some execution, talk a little bit about some nutrition, get you guys completely dialed in to dominate on race day. Coach Jim here. Coach Emily, say hi.
Hi, everybody.
I didn't think this through because I keep letting people into the in from the waiting room. I should just let them in without having to let them in. You know, I'm gonna make you a co-host so you can let them in too.
Okay.
Let me see if
I don't know.
Before we get into it, let me see how I do that, Emily. No more. Oh, there you go. Okay, make co-host. Did it work?
Yes,
So
it did work.
As people enter the waiting room, you can hit admit. All right, guys, welcome to 70.3 course talk. Just go over some details leading up to the race, course logistics, things to keep in mind. I have a very exciting keynote PowerPoint presentation. Is that what we call it in the biz? Keynote PowerPoint, is that what we call it? All right, presentation give you guys. Let's get right into it without further ado. Emily, you ready to get into it? You have to say anything?
Always
Always
ready.
Okay, so we are recording. Like I said, you could be watching this on YouTube right now. All right, everyone, can you see that all right?
Yes.
Race date this Saturday, April 2nd, 2022, Oceanside 70.3. This is brought to you by Tower 26. All right, who's with you right now? Myself, Jim Lubinski, 14 years of triathlon coaching experience, professional triathlete. I've done Oceanside 9. This will be my 10th time because I'm racing with you guys. I'm getting as much out of this as you are. Best finish is 4:08. Also, Emily, you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Emily. I've been, I was a competitive swimmer. I've been coaching endurance sport for 22 years, which is insane. Former professional triathlete, and I finished Oceanside 7 times, I believe. It might be 6. And I got 9th there once, and I've gone about 4:35.
Hey, any good story is worth exaggerating on a podcast or a Zoom. So it's 7 times.
Okay.
6, maybe you can say 15.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, cool. Beautiful. Thank you for that. And how do I go to the next screen? There we go. Remember, if you guys have questions, write it in the chat and we'll answer them as you have them. If you're watching this on YouTube, ask it in the comments. You're watching it recorded, and then we get an update when you ask a question, and we will get it back to you in the comment section. So if you're watching this in the recorded version, write it in the comments. But if you have it, ask it as it comes, and we will get to it right away. If you have the question, most other people have the question. One thing to remember that you guys, all of our Tower 26 athletes have your race plan template. If you guys do not have your race plan template, email me, jim@tower26.com, or your specific one-on-one coach. They will get you the race plan template. Anyone who's not a Tower 26 athlete on this call, email me, jim@tower26.com, and I will get you a copy of the template. You fill this template out. Your coaches do not fill out the template. I look at this like you doing homework. You can go home, you have your mom do all your homework, then the test comes on the test day. You're not going to pass that test. Same thing goes for this. You guys fill out the race plan template and then go over with your coach so you are completely dialed into how you'll be executing from a pacing standpoint, nutrition standpoint. You're aware of all the course detail and anything else that might come up regarding mindfulness and anything like that. So fill out your template. And like I said, remember, if you need me to send that to you, write me, jim@tower26.com, and I will get it to you right away. So make sure you fill that out before race day and you go over that with your coach. All right, race day checklist. Emily, what do we need for the swim, being the swimmer that you are?
Definitely a wetsuit. The water is going to be cold down there. It's usually high 50s, low 60s. So you need your wetsuit, cap, goggles. If you're someone like me who gets really cold, you could throw on a neoprene hood if you would like. And cap, goggles, body glide, towel. That's about it. Short and sweet. Don't need much.
Short and sweet. You know what? I skipped the page. Remember, guys, if you are, especially if you're a Tower 26 athlete, make sure you go to Ironman.com, go to your profile, and make sure you have entered Tower 26 as your club. And if you're not a Tower 26 athlete, you're more than welcome to join our Tower 26 club. So go to your Ironman profile. It's at Ironman.com. On the left-hand side, it says log into your profile. If you don't have a profile, create a profile, and then type in Tower 26 as your club, and we will gladly accept you as one of our teammates. Can you see that on there, Emily, right now?
Yes.
At my keynote. All right, remember, guys, this is your race kit. Race kits are worn under. We have some first timers here, and race kits are worn under your wetsuit. Remember, you wear clothing underneath your wetsuit. You don't go nude. I've seen that happen before. Ironman Wisconsin, I saw a guy go nude, and he had to run up the parking structure nude because he had nothing under his outfit. So wear your triathlon race kit under your wetsuit. Seems like it's self-explanatory, but just had to be said. All right, bike. Emily, you want to go over what we might need on the bike? Some reminders?
Yeah. So a lot of you, this is going to be your first race of the year. So do an inventory checklist. I'd say earlier in the week, the better. So if you need to run out and do errands, you're not doing that on Friday, along with 10 other errands, like dropping your bike off, but we'll get to that. So you're going to need your bike, your helmet, cycling shoes, socks, if you wear them with your cycling shoes, your race belt in this race, and go to the pre-race meeting or read the athlete guide, but they make you wear your race belt on the bike. If you don't wear it on the bike, you will be removed from the course, not allowed in Camp Pendleton. They are a stickler for this. So wear your race belt on the bike. You must wear it on the bike. Do I need to say that again? Warm clothes if you need. It can be a little chilly, even though it's California in the mornings. You might want to, I always thought, like, if I keep my hands, my heart, my head, and my toes warm, I felt a lot warmer. So you can throw on toe warmers on your shoes. They'll already be on your shoes. You don't have to waste any time in transition to do that. A good pair of throwaway gloves if you want to get rid of them once it warms up. Arm warmers, you can roll them up into a kind of a donut and then just put them on your wrists and then roll them up as you're riding. Something to practice, though. Don't do it for the first time and try to roll them up and be riding. And then you can wear a little ear warmers or a little hat underneath your helmet if you're someone who gets really cold, and you can always just pull that off, kind of like underneath as you're riding, if that makes sense. And yes, don't leave yet, but you're going to have your nutrition on your bike. You will have sunglasses if you don't have a visor. Toolkit, make sure that you can make little adjustments to your bike as you're going. A multi-tool is great. CO2, tire levers. You have no idea where that sag vehicle is going to be if you have a problem on course. So be able to do simple things on your own, and then pump your tires up before you leave transition in the morning. I think I covered everything. I'm rusty on the race stuff. This is our first race thing for the year.
That's why I put this stuff in here, because just a reminder for everybody, first race of the year. So run, all you need is, keep it short. Keep it simple, guys. Don't overdo it. Don't put too much stuff that you might just throw to the side. Have everything you need, but short and sweet. Running shoes, hat, visor, nutrition, salt, grab it and go. So you're ready in T2, you're ready to grab it, and you're ready to get out of there. But this is a very exposed course, so it would really help. Make sure you have a hat, make sure you have some type of visor, make sure you have those sunglasses to help shield you from any sun or sun that's fighting through that marine layer. All right. Anything else that we might need? Your Garmin, and you can write all this stuff down if you guys need to go back and look at the YouTube video, so you can make sure you have everything. You can do that if I'm just running through this too fast. Make sure you have a training device. Make sure you have some Body Glide. Want some Vaseline as well. The temperatures, I think the temperature is in the high 50s, low 60s in the water temperature. So sometimes if you put Vaseline on any exposed skin, the top of your hands, your cheeks, your nose, top of your feet. That's going to help repel that cold water. So it's a good idea to put some Vaseline. Just don't smudge it on your goggles. I've done this every single cold race I've ever done in the last 15 plus years of racing. So I've never smudged on my goggles. So you should be fine. Sunscreen, if you're susceptible to that, like I said, there could be a marine layer. Those UV rays could be pretty intense on this course. So you might want to put on some sunscreen before you take it out in the morning. Just bring some stuff to be prepared: electrical tape, small bike tool in your transition bag in case you need to tape something down or tighten something before the race. And then after the race, bring a change of clothes so you're not standing around in those wet, stinky clothes, making everybody stand 10 to 12 feet away from you. All right, so here is the schedule. Thursday, obviously the race is Saturday, but they do have options for you to check in and go to your athlete briefings Thursday. If you have any kids, any family, there's a fun run on Friday at 5 p.m. You can register for that as well. All this is at the Junior Seau Community Beach Center. It's right at the Oceanside Pier. So that's where the entire the expo is and where all the check-in is. So it's right. You go down the stairs and you're right at the Oceanside Pier. Ironman night. I've never heard of that before. Emily, have you heard of that before? I don't know that Ironman.
No, they show a movie or something. I have no idea.
I don't know what it is. I heard someone said it was like a farmer's market or something, but not sure. It might be something interesting. If you're down there, check it out. Check out Ironman night. Here you go. Friday, day before the race. You can also register for the fun runs. Check-in starts at 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Make sure you get there before 6 p.m. on Friday, guys. They are sticklers, and they're if you ask some of our athletes who went to St. George, they were about 10 minutes late for check-in, and anyone past them, they weren't letting them in or letting them check in. So they went to World Championships last September, and some people didn't race because they got there too late. Mandatory bike check-in, 7:30 or 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. You have to check your bike on Friday. You cannot race if you don't check that bike on Friday. So all you guys should have got time to register to go check your bike in. Make sure you check that time and you get your bike there in time to drop it off. Optional gear check. Really, you shouldn't drop your gear off the day before the race. Just bring it the day of the race. Just drop your bike off the day before the race. You can fill the tires and get all your gear set up on race morning. Those athlete briefings, it's pretty important that you go to that athlete briefing, even though you're going to get more info on this call right here than you will at the athlete briefing. They will go through the course in detail and give you any last minute reminders or last minute course specifics that pop up throughout their cleaning and breaking or setting up the course. So go to those athlete briefings, make note of what times they're at: 11 a.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m. And then the fun run is at 5 p.m. for all of your family to partake in the festivities. Here you go, race day. This is the fun day. Emily, what do we got for race day?
There's a shuttle the shuttle bus service. So you can't park at the harbor. So you need to park away from the harbor. I honestly would always just park on those side streets over kind of closer to the pier and then walk down. So you can do that, but there is the shuttle bus. It's about a mile from the pier to the harbor. So make sure you build in time for that. If you're going to take the shuttle bus, get in transition early, but I mean, you don't have to be the first person there if you're not taking off till 7:30, 8 o'clock. But do make sure you just leave some extra time in case you get there and you got to deal with something, like your gearing is a little off and you need to take it to the bike tech in transition. So give yourself a little buffer, but also make sure that you're not just going to be standing around forever. So pro race start is at 6:40. You guys will start lining up. They're doing rolling start. So I believe that means you're going to seed by kind of expected finish time for the swim. I would say don't be overconfident, but be confident in what you choose, I guess. Would you agree, Jim?
Yeah, everybody's a little overconfident. So you may as well join the rest of them. You don't want to be with a bunch of athletes that are below your ability level, just swimming through everybody. So I'd rather you err on the side of being a little aggressive than being a little conservative. Unless you're extremely uncomfortable in the open water and you need a little time to build into it, be realistic with that too. If you need some more time, be a little on the conservative side so you can build into that effort. You don't have all these people around you smacking in the head because you're too aggressive in a place where you're uncomfortable. So it's situation by situation basis. So I would err on the side of being a little bit aggressive, but it depends. If you're not too comfortable, be on the conservative side.
Right. And just remember too, you can also make some space for yourself by going to the outside. Given that you're doing right turns, I would say you'd probably want to be on the right outside so you're not pushed too far left and thus swimming tons more. But there might be a little bit of crowding around that buoy. So just keep all that in mind when you line up, and have your safety stroke if you need to roll over and take a few strokes and get your bearings. The water is cold. If you can get in before, definitely the day before, and just feel what the water is going to feel like if it's cold out in the morning. And if you get in the water and then you're standing around and that's going to make you freezing, that might not be the best option. So figure out what works for you. Always a nice jog, at least some stretch cords can get you warmed up, but make sure you feel that water so you know what it's going to feel like on your face. And just remember, we'll go over the bike and the run course, but at the finish, you're going to have to head back to transition, which is about a mile to get your bike. So I don't know, I guess kind of fuel for that, and take some hydration with you, but that should be it.
Give yourself plenty of time to parking. There's plenty of street parking. There's a bunch of parking lots, but get there plenty early so you're not rushed with the parking. And then you just walk to the race start or walk the transition from where you park. Nothing in Oceanside is too far. So, but give yourself plenty of time so you're not rushed and you're not, because you're going to have to do plenty of things once you get to transition. We'll get to that in a minute. But like I said, I've never had an issue parking down there. So you should be fine. Just give yourself time so you're not rushed and you're not nervous about it. All right, so this is Saturday. Well, like I said, wake up, give yourself plenty of time to eat and get out the door. What do we want to eat, Emily? About 2.5, 3 hours before your race start?
Yep, 2.5 to 3 hours before. We talked about this on a team call, but if you eat too soon before the race, you actually have a big drop in blood sugar as your body is digesting, and your insulin goes up because it's breaking that food down. So make sure you give yourself time to eat, digest, and then that blood sugar gets into your system and spikes back up. So bring some snacks with you. Always bring have some extra race nutrition in your transition bag, just in case something happens, if you lose a gel, whatever. Emergency food is always good. They give you a morning clothes bag. So make sure you just have extras of that stuff so that you're not hungry before you start. And then make sure you have a little something, maybe 20 to 30 minutes before your start. And keep sipping on stuff. Electrolytes is great, Noon or the precision hydration kind of tablets, something like that. Sip on those as you're setting everything up. You don't want to suck down like 3 bottles of water, but make sure that throughout getting set up, you're hydrating the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, especially I think the temperature is supposed to be low 60s. So a lot of times in temperature like that, athletes forget to get those electrolytes in. So stay on top of your electrolytes from the moment you wake up. Be sipping on a bottle that has electrolytes in it so you can stay on top of that sodium, and don't slack off just because it's on the cooler side. You need to keep those electrolytes going even when it's cool out. Raining, and it's not supposed to rain, but if raining, cold, this is for future races. Make sure you stay on your electrolytes no matter what the conditions. Once you get to the race, get your bike, go to your bike, make sure everything looks kosher. You can set your bag down, go hit that porta potty. You're all gonna have to go porta potty. Here's a little secret for everybody on this call. If you go for your pre-race jog and you run across the bridge and you make a right-hand turn down to the bike path, there's public restrooms at the bike path, right where the bike path starts. So there's actually, on the run course, there's gonna be an aid station there. But if you need to go and the lines are too long, run across the bridge, make a right-hand turn right at the end of the bridge, and where it tees with the bike path, where that street tees with the bike path, there's public restrooms. I think there's 5 men, 5 women. So little secret, and that's my secret spot. So now you guys are going to be lined up there taking my secret spot, but I'll do that for you guys. So you set up your transition. Don't bring anything you don't need. Don't bring buckets. Don't bring stools. Keep it short and sweet. What you want to do when you get to your transition area, look for something. And there's plenty at the Oceanside where you're going to be set up at the harbor. There's plenty of stagnant objects that aren't going to move. So look for something where you can say, hey, my bike is right near that palm tree, or my bike is right near that outhouse, something that's not going to move. You don't want to put it my bike is right next to that guy, because that guy's going to move. right? So look at something big that's in line with your transition rack. So when you're running that distance, because it's a long distance out of the water, all the way down to the end of transition, then you have to come back in transition and run to your bike. There's all these bike racks, your heart rate's up, everything's discombobulated. Find something big that you can recognize, hey, my bike is right by that stagnant object, whatever it is, and you know that that's lined up with your transition rack. So check that out. Get everything set up. Like I said, don't have anything that you don't need. Obviously, cover your bases and make sure you're fully covered with what you do need, but don't bring anything extra. Don't bring all the other stuff that's just gonna clutter up your transition area and slow you down when you're looking to get in and out of there fast, because it's free time, guys. I don't want you to come in at the end of the race and said, damn, if my transition would have been 30 seconds faster, I would have moved up 3 places. We want to get every second out of it and have no excuses. Know that you made the most out of every second you were on course. Look at where the swim in is, and look at where the bike out is. The bike out and the run out are the same spot, but the swim in, like I said, when you exit the swim, you're at one side of transition, then you have to run all the way down to the far side of transition, and it is a long transition area. So notice where you run in from the swim, where your bike rack is, and how far you have to go to the bike out. Once you get everything set, get on that wetsuit and go down to the swim start. It's a really, really congested entrance onto the beach. Just don't be rushing last minute to get down to the swim start, because it's a barrier, and the entry to the beach is probably about this wide for all 2,500 people plus all the spectators that get to the beach, and it gets really bottlenecked. So get out of that transition soon. You can get down to the water, go for your little 5 to 10 minute jog, get your face wet, get under the water, maybe do a couple strokes. Don't spend too much time in water that cold. It tends to suck the energy out of you, because your body has to work to heat those vital organs. So we want to not spend too much time in that cold water, but spend enough time just to take care of that ice cream headache, so you don't have any type of shock once you start your race. Emily, can you see any questions coming in? I can't see the questions. Or is there someone who can we nominate to read the questions as they come up?
We do have a question on race wheels, if we want to address that now or later. And then people were also asking north or south of the bridge. I don't remember seeing restrooms.
South of the bridge. So if you run, it's the run course. So if you go run out of transition, you run down the straightaway out of transition, you make the left-hand turn, then the right-hand turn out of the bridge, across the bridge there, and then make a right-hand turn at the end, right as if you're on the run course, where that meets the path, the running path that you'll run down. So it's the exact start of the run course. When you hit the running path, there's public restrooms right there. They're not outhouses. They're public restrooms, and that's a little secret. There you go.
I remember seeing those. There's little showers there too. You can rinse off after the race.
Gyms, bathrooms is spray painted on the side. So no, it's not. What do we have for race wheels? Sorry, when I'm in
race wheels depth, not sure about the wind factor. I can start on this one. It can get, I feel like the wind that you face on this course towards the end, you might get a little bit of a crosswind before you make that right turn to head back towards the coast, and then you're into a headwind. If you're nervous about winds, don't have a really deep front wheel. I rode a disc in all conditions, windy or not, and it didn't matter because your weight is back over that back wheel, so it's not going to sail like the front. So if you're worried about it, a little less deep on the front wheel, like maybe 40 millimeters, and then you can do whatever you want on the back.
And honestly, I've never really experienced huge to worry about on this course. So if all you have is a 40 on the front, just keep it. You'll be fine. Now I say hurricane on Saturday, but but you should be. I've never. If anything, when in that last 6 miles, you might get a headwind that kicks up a little bit. But actually, when we did this in October, which was really fresh in our minds for all of you guys that raced in October, we had a tailwind coming in on that last 6 miles. And of all the times I've raced it, I've never had a tailwind. So let's hope that is the same issue, the same thing we have this weekend.
Deetra says she only has a 60 for the front and the back. Honestly, I think you're going to be fine. I really have had crazy wins on this course either.
Manny keeps trying to get in here from, what is he doing? He's entered.
I don't know.
times. All right. So this just, you look at the athlete briefing guide. I just want to put this up here. There's like a shuttle map because like Emily said earlier, it's about a mile from where you finish back to transition. Or if you park by the finish, there are shuttle buses that can take you to T1 and T2 for that matter. It's the same transition, but you'll have to go back after the race and get all your stuff. So if you park down by the finish line, you might want to take a shuttle in the morning. So look at the athlete briefing guide and know the details of those shuttles, how often they come, when they're leaving, and all that. But like I said, there's plenty of parking, but no, if you park on the further side, if you park a mile and a half away, there is an option to take a shuttle. So look at that. All right, like I said, transition one setup, just going over it again. Make sure you have your stuff there tight, nice and tight next to your bike. It is a pretty crowded transition area. Everybody will fit, but don't bring too much. Just have what you need. Bike, shoes, socks, helmet, sunglasses. I did not put the race belt, but remember, you have to wear your race number on the bike. Find that stagnant object. Like I said, look at swim in, bike out. Don't worry about sand on your feet. We don't have to worry about sand. The only part of the sand is the beginning of the swim. You'll be fine. You don't need a bucket to wipe your feet off. Put your wetsuit in your bag. You don't need to do that. It doesn't make a difference. You just rip your wetsuit off and throw it down. Obviously, keep it by your bike, because I have had people at this race throw their wetsuit and lose a wetsuit because they throw it 10 bikes down and then somebody accidentally takes it. And that usually happens once every 3 or 4 years. So put the wetsuit right next to your bike. You should be fine. You can clip your shoes in if you're comfortable with that. I don't clip my shoes in. I can't lift my leg that high, and it's a lot faster. Yeah, it looks sexier when you're not running through transition, in your bike shoes, but that's a split second. And for the amount of time and the lack of skill a lot of athletes have in getting their bike shoes on while they're riding, you're going to save a ton of time just by putting your bike shoes on in transition, looking like an idiot running in your tap shoes to the mountain line, than if you were to run in your bare feet, shoes clipped in your bike, get on your bike, and then fall over trying to put your shoes on as you ride. Just put them in transition and then go and get your clips in as you ride. Don't worry about looking sexy and running for that split second that you're in transition. Agreed, Emily? You better agree.
Agreed. Especially if there's lots of people coming out with you, it's easier just to be able to put on your shoes and not be reaching down. And you got Joe over here who's trying to go the wrong way. I mean, just put them on. Just have them on, get on your bike, go.
If you are running in those shoes, though, make sure you're safe, because it is a lot of asphalt in transition. So just take it slow. It could be wet and damp with the marine layer that's usually in on Oceanside morning. So just be safe as you're jogging through in those bike shoes.
Right.
All right. So swim course, it is an ocean start, and it's a far out break. So you're going to enter, and you're going to have to go a little ways before you get to those waves that are breaking. 1,900 meters, 1.2 miles. Like I said, water temperatures in the high 50s, low 60s. You're going to wear your full sleeved wetsuit. If you're really susceptible to cold, you can put on a neoprene hoodie. Honestly, you warm up pretty quick. So, if like I said, if you're really susceptible to getting cold, put it on. But if you want to wear 2 caps, that might be a better option than that neoprene, where you get really hot because of all that heat that's contained in your head. The buoys you have 4 right-hand turn buoys, because they did add a buoy so no one can cut the course. On that 3rd right-hand turn buoy, if you guys see it at the top of the screen, you used to be able to cut the tangent from the orange buoy to orange buoy. Now they put that turn buoy in. So you have to make a right-hand turn around all of those buoys. The final one it's only about 30 to 40 meters to the finish. So you go out, you have to dive under the waves for a little bit till you get to that first turn buoy, swim across into the harbor where it settles down a ton. You can sight, if you breathe to your right-hand side, you can sight on the beach and on the harbor, swim to that second turn buoy. Now, something to remember when you get to that second turn buoy, it's a tight right-hand turn. You have to turn tighter than you think you have to turn. Year after year after year, I look at athletes' swim maps or post swim analysis, and I look at what they did, and they never make that second right-hand turn tight enough. You got to turn as if you're making a 180 degree turn back. And that's where you're going to be turning enough to get to that right-hand turn buoy. You have yellow buoys out every 100 meters for the first half, and then orange buoys every 100 meters for the back half. And they are numbered. I think it's 1 to 9, and then they do 1 to 9 again on the back half for the orange buoys. Remember, if you're unfamiliar with swimming in the ocean, as a wave's approaching you, you dive under the wave, you grab the bottom of the ocean, the bottom of the floor, you feel the sand on your chest, You feel the wave go over you, and then you pop up and you keep moving forward. You never stop in the break zone. You always move forward. You only have to go through the waves. You don't have to come out with waves at your back. So the easy part is diving under the waves. Once you get past the break, you're fine, and you're going to get into your regular pool swim stroke. But until then, make sure you go in with the wetsuits you guys will be wearing. There's a lot of buoyancy, so it tends to hold you up. If you don't get low enough, the wave's going to press you back, and you're going to get caught in that wave. You're going to get tumbled. This is why it's vital that you get through. You get your chest on the bottom of the ocean. You feel that sand, so the wave can pass over your head. As it passes over, you feel it, and then you pop up and you keep moving forward. I believe last year it's a very shallow bottom, so you can actually, for most of the break, you can stay on. You can feel the bottom with your feet and jump off the bottom as you dive under the waves. So you're not in that deep water trying to get under the waves. So it's much more comfortable doing it that way. Like I said, it's an ocean entry, harbor exit. You have a long run once you get out of the water. So you have a ramp coming out of the water, and then you have a long run. Just keep your feet moving as you run to the far end of transition. A lot of times as you get up and you move from that horizontal to the vertical position, your heart rate spikes high, and your first inclination is to walk. Keep moving, guys. Just keep a nice little jog going. Stay on the little carpet that they have the whole way so you don't slip. Watch out for the barriers. They have those little metal standards holding them up. Don't kick one of those or catch one of those between the toe, because that could end your day real quick. But just keep your trot going all the way through transition. The heart rate will come down. Like I said, that's free time getting through transition. You don't have to sprint, but you want to keep moving. Did I hit everything there, Emily?
Yeah. And, as you're running, you can start to kind of take down that wetsuit a little bit, get it down to your waist so you don't feel maybe as constricted or whatever. If you're a little cold, you might want to leave it up and kind of warm up a little bit.
Yep, exactly. But there's plenty of time to do that, because if you see that blue line, that's the transition run that you have all the way to the end. You have to make the left hand turn, another tight left in the transition. That's where you go to your bike rack, and then you come out of transition where the little finish line is. That's the exit of transition, and the mount line where you'll get on your bike. Do we have any questions coming in? I see there's about 17 questions up there. Anything of significance?
No, I answered a couple of them that were easy. There's no wetsuit peelers. That second right turn is the turn that's going to take you into the harbor. Oh, page 19 of the athlete guide. This is why read your athlete guide, ask a question at your at the athlete briefing. I've never seen wetsuit peelers there. Maybe there are.
Yeah, it all depends on what type of COVID protocol they have. I think it depends year to year and how many volunteers they have. Usually one of the first things to go if they don't have enough volunteers is wetsuit peelers. So go to the briefing and they'll tell you. But doesn't really you have plenty of time to strip the wetsuit down as you're running. So that's really very little significance. Anything else? Because people are watching this too. So if there's any questions, let's just answer them. So they don't ask again and we're redundant.
Yeah, no, for sure. No, nothing else. We're good. We're caught up.
All right. So remember, if it's really crowded and you're in the turbulent conditions of the ocean, it will thin out. Just like Emily said earlier, just move to the side and give yourself a little clean water. Take your time getting through the waves. The couple seconds that you take to get through the waves, instead of rushing it, hyperventilating and losing your breath because you're moving too fast for your ability level, that's going to come into play later if you waste needless energy trying to go too fast through those waves. So take your time, get through the waves, stay relaxed, keep that breath in check, and you'll be fine. If you do start to hyperventilate, it's totally normal. Let's just make sure that you relax. Your day isn't over 3 seconds into the swim if you start to hyperventilate with the constriction of the chest, in the wetsuit, in the cold water. It's totally normal. All the people around you, all you have to do is get your breathing back in check. When you're hyperventilating, you're just holding on your carbon dioxide and you're trying to take in oxygen. You can't take in that oxygen. So you have to get the breathing back in check, and then you keep moving forward, ease back into your swim stroke, and you will get through it. But your day's not over if you just start to lose your breath and hyperventilate. Just relax. It's totally normal, and it happens to everybody. It happens to me once a year. Once you get through the break, relax. Like I said, ease back into your stroke, sight on those buoys, stay nice and tight to the buoys. And there's no reason to veer too far off those buoys. Now the turn buoys, you have to go right right-hand turn, you have to make a right-hand turn around all of them. The sighting buoys, the yellow buoys or the orange buoys, you can go on either side of those buoys. It doesn't really make a difference if you're on the right. If you're coming up to the buoy and you're on the right, just keep going. As long as you go right hand around the turn buoys, you're fine. Sight off that shore, sight off the harbor wall. Like I said, make that second turn nice and tight. When you get out of the water, it is a rather steep ramp. I mean, it's not 20 degrees, but it's not completely flat. So your heart rate's going to be up. You're going to be wobbly. Like I said, just keep moving and know to expect it. We do open water swims with Tower 26 starting probably in May. We're going to start doing those. So if you need a little more help, go to tower26.com and check out those open water swims that start sometime in May, depending on water temperature. We also have our Tower 26 subscription plan where we will prepare you for these races. We have coached workouts. Let's see, Emily, how many coached workouts do we have a week? Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4,
5,
6,
6.
well, officially 7, probably 7, 8 coach workouts a week via
Mm-hmm.
Zooms, with SoundCloud, Spotify. So a lot of options there. Go to coaching.tower26.com for more info on that if you're not already on. Or we have one-on-one coaching as well, which myself, Emily, Chris, and we have plenty of Tower 26 coaches to suit your specific needs. Transition 1, make it snappy. Pull that wetsuit down as you run through transition. It is a long run, like I said. If you want some help on getting your wetsuit off quickly, check out our YouTube channel. I did a video on that. So go to our Tower 26 YouTube channel and what would you even look up? Wetsuit taking off, and it would
just wetsuit.
It's one of our more watched videos. So check that out. Remember, guys, if you need to wear socks on the bike, wear the socks. If you practice with socks, wear socks on the bike. Take the extra 30 seconds. I mean, you put on socks every single day. There's no reason you don't know how to put on socks in transition. Put them on. A blister could ruin your day. This goes for the run too. Maybe you don't bike in socks. You put on your bike shoes, you get into T2 and you're like, oh, I just got to run through it. I'm just going to throw on my run shoes and get out of here. Take the time to put on your socks. The last thing you need is a blister. So all the training you did leading up to this is for naught because you got a damn blister. Put the socks on. If you need it on the bike, if you need it on the run, put your socks on. Make sure you put your helmet, shoes, race belt on before you grab your bike, run to the mount line. Make sure you carefully run to the mount line. You can't just get on your bike and start riding right from where your bike is in transition. Through the bike out, get on your bike at that mount line, and then you can get onto the bike course. Here's the bike course, 56 miles, 90 kilometers, 2,720 feet of elevation gain. That mainly starts on let's see if we break it into thirds. The second third of the bike course was where a majority of the climbing starts. You always stay right at all times. You only move left to pass other athletes. Make sure you look over your shoulder before you move left. Look over your shoulder before you move back right. If you go to the athlete briefing, they'll tell you all of the rules and regulations, drafting zones, all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to go over that here. Pay attention to all the markings on course. There is a pretty tough area once you get I think it's about 3-4 miles into the course where you go behind the little grocery store. It's there's a ton of markings on the road where there's potholes and bumps, and a lot of nutrition is lost in that area. So take your time going through that course. You make a left-hand turn, you go behind the little grocery store, you follow around the road as it turns right, and you can't miss it because there's marks everywhere. There's signs that say bump. Take it seriously, guys. Slow down a little bit there because first off, we don't want you crashing. Second off, if you lose your nutrition that early and you don't stop to get it, that's setting you up for a long day for the rest of the bike and into the run if you're not staying on top of your nutrition. So pay attention to all those more markings, pay attention to all the turns, and where it says go slow, anywhere throughout the course, go slow because they're telling you it for a reason. There's some super tight turns coming out of downhills. So pay attention to those slow signs, pay attention where they're telling you to slow down because we don't need you skidding and losing some skin because you were a little too aggressive on some turns. There is at mile 39, there's a 25 mile per hour max speed limit. And if you do not adhere to this, they will disqualify you. Ask Fernando, our athlete, or El Conquistador. He is the most straight edge athlete I've ever coached. And he got disqualified one year because he went 26.5 miles an hour through this zone. If you were just riding on a regular Saturday afternoon, and you went through this descent, you'd be like, hey, no big deal. The Marines, when they go out and they have a few pops on a Friday night, they're driving at 95 miles an hour. It's a different story. So Camp Pendleton officials, they don't want, they think this is a tough turn. Like I said, on a bike, it's not that tough, but they still say, hey, we got to go 25 miles per hour or less So go less. There's plenty of people telling you, okay, this is the speed zone. This is where you go 25 miles per hour or less. There's a big speed limit sign that tells you exactly how fast you're moving. So don't go faster than 25 miles per hour. They take you from the beginning to the end, and they take the time that you took to go through that, and they find out, hey, this guy was going over 25 miles per hour. Anybody is disqualified. So go less than the speed limit. You should have it on your bike, the speed, but they also have that big sign that has the real-time speed that you're going. Once again, there's some tight turns coming in the T2. So I know a lot of you guys like to take your feet out of your shoes before you get to the dismount line, which is great. But a word of advice is before you get to the T2 and you're in that straightaway coming into T2, you need to take your feet out of your shoes there, because then once you get into where the transition area is, they make you ride all the way to the far end of transition again. And that's a very tight, and there could be athletes all over the place. You're not going to be able to take your feet out of your shoes there. So if you're taking your feet out of your shoes as you ride, you got to do it in the straightaway leading in the transition. So then you'll ride down the length of transition with the feet out of the shoes, because if you don't have them out by then, you're not going to be able to get them out as you're riding through those tight turns. And there's some really tight turns. It's the same path that you run when you're coming out of the water. Emily, any questions coming? Did I miss anything there?
No, and that's really good. You definitely can't take your shoes out. I believe it's still carpeted from the swim, and you go over bumps like roots and stuff. So don't be trying to take your shoes out there. How long is the speed limit section? I think it's less than half a mile, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a quarter mile. It's really short. And like I said, if you were just riding on a Saturday, you wouldn't even know that this is a dangerous section, but they've had some issues with people driving on this. So and it's been, I mean, like I said, it's gonna be my 10th time doing it. Every year people get disqualified in the same section because they're too aggressive. But you really have to be dialed in and make sure, who cares? Go 18 miles an hour, just get through this quarter mile section, and then you can get back in. Use it as a time to get in some nutrition, and then get back on your pedals once you come out of it.
Yep.
Anything else?
That's it. Nope. That's it so far.
I'll give you some reminders here. All right. Be safe. Nice, strong, maintainable left, steady on the pedals all the way through. There's plenty of ups and downs. You never want to spike that power too high or let that valley. I mean, there's some really steep descents where you can't keep pressure on the pedals, but this course, I mean, it's all about that fluid, consistent power from start to finish. You never want to be in too big of a gear where you're grinding at 60 RPMs. You never want to be too high of a gear where you're spinning at 95 to 100 RPM. So nice, consistent pressure on the pedals. Like I said, when you go behind the commissary, just watch out for that rough road. Really be aware of those bumps and take it slow. Once you get through that, it's a very short section. Once you get through that, you can get back on those pedals, but be safe. If you do lose nutrition, make sure it's safe, but stop and pick it up. Don't let that ruin your day because you don't take it's always less time than you think it is. You can stop, pick up your nutrition, and be back on your way in 15 seconds. There's also a no path zone at Old Pacific Highway. There's a bunch of surfers going out to catch some waves. So they make it a no pass zone. Take that serious. I've seen a few people wipe out there because they try and pass in the no pass zone. Somebody's coming the other way, and skateboarder or something like that. So pay attention to that. Watch out for those surfers. They don't know how fast you could be moving through that. Like I said, stay right at all times. Pay attention to those no pass zones. They're there for a reason. The hills come in that last 35 miles. So you're going to be going out. You might get a nice headwind going along the ocean. You think, man, I'm going to have a super fast day. This is going to be the best day of my life. I'm going to set major PRs. Then you make a right-hand turn, you go into Camp Pendleton, and it's like a big slap in the face. Keep that same nice, even mentality the whole way through, guys. Don't let the up get super up. Don't let the downs get super down. That goes for your effort and your mindset. Stay nice and fueled, stay nice and hydrated, and really dial into your specific race plan. Race your race. Know your gearing, practice your gearing. Like I said, nice, smooth pedal stroke, no matter how steep that grade is. Keep it efficient, keep that ankle relaxed, drive the pedals from those knees, and stay nice and fluid. If you're on the time trial bike, especially in that first 20 miles, 21, 22 miles, you're gonna have plenty of time in the aero position. As those grades increase, 3-4%, that's when you start to get out of that TT position, get back onto that saddle and really get into those glutes. But if you want maximum bang for your buck, stay aero as much as you can, especially in those flat to 2 to 3% grade. Focus on that process, break it down in smaller units. So there's going to be signs every 5 miles telling you this is 5 mile, 5 mile, 10 mile, 15. Just take it 5 miles at a time. Don't look at it as 56 miles. Just look at it as I'm going to ride to this 5 miles. Now I'm going to ride the mile 10. Now I'm going to ride the mile 15. And then within each of those, and stay mindful of the process. Like I said, stay on those nutrition. If you want constant reminders and constant coaching as to how you're going to approach these workout or these races, through workout after workout after workout, join us at our Tower 26 Triathlon Training Program. Go to training.tower26.com. Did I miss anything there, Emily?
Nope. Sounds, yeah, just, I mean, I like that. Like, stay calm. Don't get too excited if things are going great, and don't get too worried if something goes a little wrong. Deal with it, move on. It usually seems more.
I remember in October, I was doing the math in my head as I was going up, north on the beach, on the path. And I was thinking, man, I'm going to ride this ride in 2 hours. This is the fastest half Ironman I've ever done in my life. And then I made a right-hand turn in the ocean into Camp Pendleton. And the rest of the race was a different story. So stay nice and even keeled, and you'll have a great day out there. Like I said, here's the training program information. If you want more info on that, write us contact at tower26.com. Transition number 2, like I said, just have what you need: run shoes, socks, visors, gel. Make sure you have some sodium in there, maybe some salt pills or some base salt, where you can just put it on your tongue and go. But be prepared. Grab it and go, guys. Put your shoes on. You can put all that other stuff on as you're running out of transition. Once again, look for that stagnant object as you run your bike to the bike rack. Rack that bike, sit down, put on your socks, put on your shoes, grab all the rest of your stuff, run out of transition, guys. It's free time. You don't have to stand at your bike rack, put on your hat, put on your sunglasses. You already have your race belt on. Do all that stuff as you're running out of transition. It's not like you have to go to the run out with everything on. I run the first quarter mile and I'm still getting everything set up. So you can run out of transition as you're putting all that stuff on, and you can get settled in that first mile. Make sure when you drop off your bike, you look at that bike in, run out, all that kind of stuff. Just a reminder, like I said, carefully dismount at that dismount line. It does come up on you pretty quick, and it's very tight as you're riding a long transition. So pay attention. We don't want you riding 55.9 miles and wiping out in the last 1/10 of a mile. So pay attention. Like I said, sit down, put on all that stuff, and do all the rest as you are running out. Free time. Transition is free time. Emily, you want to go over the run notes?
Yep. So you're going to run the way that you went to the secret bathroom that we've told you about.
Good. Yeah. Good.
Exactly. So you're going to make that left-hand turn. Then you'll make a right, go over that bridge. You'll go down kind of a small hill, and you'll end up along the beach path. There'll be quite a few people. It's really nice. Everybody's out there hanging out. So you go do a little like serpentine kind of up the pier, little steep hills. Make sure you keep your cadence up, kind of lean forward, nice and relaxed upper body. You'll go along the upper street for a minute, and then you'll go down a steep downhill back onto the beach path, go all the way out, U-turn, come back, and do it again. And is the turnaround, you go all the way back to the harbor for the turnaround, correct?
Yeah, you almost go to the harbor. You go across the bridge, and it's right at the end of the bridge. So
okay.
Go back to transition, with the exception of that last little straightaway where you're going to take your bike shoes off if you're getting those feet out of the shoes on the bike.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Repeat on the run. But yeah, then once you get out to that little neighborhood, once you get off the beach path and you make the left-hand turn, you go into the neighborhood for the back half of each loop. That's where it gets all the people are in the front half of the loop. The back half gets really boring, really quiet, and you get some long grinding hills. So you guys got to drive your knees, stay nice and light on your feet, stay nice and tall, and you just take it 1 mile at a time. Do not get ahead of yourself and say, oh my God, I have, 4, 5, 6 miles to go. Take it 1 mile at a time, and, don't get ahead of yourself. Before you know it, you'll be a mile 13. So yeah, that's the run notes. Let's see, did I miss anything there?
No, sounds good. And just remember, like at all the aid stations, grab a little something to drink. Make sure you have your gels. You're constantly giving your body little bits of stuff. You're not waiting until you're super thirsty and super hungry and then taking, 300 calories at a pop. You want to just constantly be giving yourself little bits of sugar throughout the run.
Yeah, a little bit. You don't have to take a whole gel, take half a gel, but just keep it coming in, stay on top of your electrolytes. And it does get very humid out there. Like surprisingly, it gets humid because a lot of times that marine layer holds in, any moisture, any heat. And where it really affects you is on the back half of that run course where it's totally exposed. There's nobody around. You get those slight uphills, slight downhills. And that's where breaking it down, aid station to aid station, taking it 1 mile at a time. And like Emily said, staying on top of that nutrition is going to be vital. Go through those aid stations, dump water on your head, get it all over your body, and just get that sweat off of you. So if that humidity is heating you up, you're cooling yourself off with that liquid. Beautiful. I think that's all I have. Like I said, we have plenty of Tower 26 options if you guys need to get some training in, but I'll end my sharing there. Let's bring it to the question area. Anybody have any questions that are popping up here? Beth, yeah, and you probably have some questions. What do you got? You're the first person I saw when I brought everybody on. All right, Emily, anybody else wants to go over?
I don't see anything in the chat. Anything else?
George has something. George, go ahead. Why don't you ask live, George, now that I...
Yes.
Thank you. I was going to remind everybody that they need to sign up for the Tower 26 Tri Club to make sure all athletes are racing are counted.
Yeah, I love it.
See, I've gotcha.
That's good. See, you got to remind us. At Oceanside, at Indian Wells, we didn't everybody. We would have won the whole darn thing. So everybody better. You're gonna feel my wrath if you're a Tower 26 athlete and you're not registered. But that was at the beginning of the presentation. So, all right, who wrote that? Sit down to put your shoes on. Somebody who said that?
It just says iPhone. I mean, you can stand up and put your shoes on, or you can sit down. It's up to you. Do whatever works. But don't not sit down because you think you shouldn't sit down. If you need to sit down, sit down. It's easier to sit down than fall over.
How many times throughout the day do you put shoes on standing up? Put socks and shoes on standing up. Not many of us do. So sit down, put the shoes on, then get up and go. That's going to be the most efficient. That's going to keep the heart rate actually at the most settled level. Massey looks like he has a question. Massey, what do you got?
No.
Oh, I didn't have a question.
Looking confused over there.
I'm trying to figure out my what power I'm going to be doing.
And make sure, if you're on the Slack, we have our Slack channel. If you guys are on there, you can meet up for dinners or whatever. There's going to be a lot of people doing the race. I think there's at least 16 people that are on the race roster. If you haven't filled that out and you're a Tower 26er, fill that out so we know where you're going to be racing. Where others are going to be racing. So yeah.
Marjorie has a good question about Hell Hill. So you're going to come up to mile, I believe it's 37, and you're going to look at the distance, and you're going to see this. Is it mile 30? You're going to see in the distance, you're going to see the steep SOB, and it's steep. I'll tell you that much. It's steep, but like I said, the key is staying relaxed. You need to get out of the saddle. You don't look at it as a huge hill. You take it one pedal stroke at a time. Keep that lower leg nice and relaxed. Drive from the knees, get out of the saddle, sit back down, get out of the saddle, sit back down. Before you know it, it's over. It's not very long, but it is extremely steep. So get it into a nice, easy gear. And even at the beginning, it feels super easy. Keep it in that easy gear. Keep a nice fluid pedal stroke. Before you know it, you'll be at the top. But it's the athletes who give up on themselves are the ones who don't make it up the hill and end up walking up that hill. You're fine. You'll make it up. You might be pedaling at 30, 40 RPMs, but you'll get to the top and you'll push over the top and you go into the super steep downhill once you get over the top. So don't let your mind beat you as you come up on that hill. You will get to the top of it. You guys are strong cyclists, but there's plenty that give up too early. So drive with those knees, lower leg relaxed, nice fluid, efficient pedal stroke. And if you need to get out of the saddle, get back in the saddle, just do whatever you need to do to get up that. And I think it's only a quarter mile. It's not very long.
Is it Latigo steep or Mulholland steep? I don't know because I don't live in LA.
Steeper than, it's very short. You can't really compare it to that because it's a quick shot up and it's only about a quarter mile. So
yeah,
what the incline is of that. If anybody knows the incline, the percentage grade, let me know, but you'll get up it. You'll be fine, but just don't give up on yourself.
I'm sure it's on Strava.
Oh, it's on Strava. All right. What else we got? Remember, if you guys are, if you're a stronger athlete, Brian was talking about power. If you're a stronger athlete, you're going to hold in that 80 to 85% range as an average, normalized power throughout the bike course. If you're building fitness and you're newer to the athlete, or you don't really know power, you're new on power, you can probably be in that 75 to 80% range. But it's definitely something you want to go into race day thinking about and dialing into. If you're based on heart rate, same thing, 80, 85% of threshold in your heart rate. And if you need a little work on the fitness, or you're just easing into it, you're going to be a little lower than that. But go into it with a plan, go into it with some metrics for you to follow throughout so you can dial it into your specific ability level. All right. Anything else?
Nothing else that I've seen. Get your questions in, guys.
Greenwich is pretty vocal. Greenwich, what do you got? Want to give a couple, give your 2 cents?
Oh, I was actually just trying to look up what the whatchamacallit, the grade is, but I can't find it. It's on Strava, just search for it. But it's the first time I did Oceanside, I came around that corner that you're talking about. That was before I actually looked at any race I was doing before I did it. And I was probably better that I didn't know, but I came around the corner and you just see it and you're like, okay, well, I'm not going there. And then you realize there's people riding their bike up it and you're like, oh, well, that's not good. So just know that it's coming and just make sure that you've eaten everything that you can before you get there. It's short, but it's steep. And I got kind of freaked out because I saw people walking their bikes up it. And I was like, no, you just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. It's like the last, if any of you've done St. George, it's similar-ish to the top bit, the very last top part's a little bit steeper than that, but it's steep, but just get through it. You can. Don't let others freak you out.
There's also a good question in there. I'm not sure who asked it about goggles. Make sure you have goggle options. You have a clear set of goggles and a tinted set of goggles. Like I said, I think 99% of the time you get a marine layer where it's actually pretty dark at the start. So you'd want to wear more of a clear type goggle, but there's a chance it could be sunny and you could have some type of glare. So you'd want to be prepared with a tinted goggle. So have 2 pairs of goggles. If you don't have 2 pairs, I'm sure Roca will be at the pre-race expo. I know they say never knew anything new on race day, but you might want to pick up a pair, try it on, dunk your head in the bathtub or whatever, and just know that that if it is dark, if it is cloudy, overcast, and you have a super tinted pair of goggles, you have another option so you can actually see those buoys instead of just be totally blacked out because of the conditions. So have 2 pairs of goggles just to be prepared for any type of conditions that might present themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's good if there is sun and it is sunny that morning, you can use, especially once you turn into the harbor, you're going to be right along that seawall, which is great to sight off of. So you don't have to lift your head up. And the closer you can get to that seawall, I mean, you don't need to be right on it, but that's the shortest path to the exit.
Yeah. Don't veer totally to your left, because then you have to come all the way back to make that right-hand turn around that last turn buoy in the transition. So stay tight. Like I said earlier, stay tight to those buoys. And you like Emily said, there's some piers that come up, that boats that dock on, every other day. They move the boats out of there for race day, but every other day they dock right there. So you don't want to run into any of those piers, but the closer you can stay to that harbor wall without hitting the piers, the better off you'll be.
I think they put actually like cones or orange things on those piers too.
People run into the piers, no matter what they're still going to do it.
And you do have to come out and make a right turn and take your right shoulder around that last turn buoy. You can't cut into the finish. So be ready for that. You kind of have to come out and go back in to make that hard right turn into the finish.
Yeah. All right. What else is on my mind? Just remember the last 6 miles of the bike course. Just grind it out, guys. It could be an intense headwind in your face. Just make sure you don't stomp too low of a cadence. Keep a nice, fluid, efficient pedal stroke. Take it 1 mile at a time. Eventually, you'll get to the finish, but don't let the wind beat you, especially that deep into the bike race. It's a time when your mental fatigue is really kicking in. And if you get that headwind, it could be mentally defeating. Just break it down 1 mile at a time. Eventually you'll be a transition. Keep it nice and fluid, nice and relaxed, and don't fight it. Keep it efficient. And that's about all I got, guys. Any other questions anybody wants to go over? If not, write it on the YouTube comments. If you think of it, write on the YouTube comments, any of my athletes or any of your Tower 26 athletes, reach out to your coaches. And I'm sure you guys will all fill out your race plan with all the metrics that you're going to follow. Anything else, Emily?
Nope, that's it. Megan put up her Strava, so we can all look at that.
Oh, nice. Bragging. Bragging. All right, guys. Anything else anybody wants to go over? Let me know offline. Other than that, thanks for joining. This has been great. It's an hour on the dot. That's exactly what we said it would be, Emily. Good luck, guys. We'll see you out there. Let's have some fun.
Bye, guys. Good luck.
Bye.